I want to tell you a story and let me know in the comments if you can relate to this or not. As a young kid, you probably had an image in your mind of what you would like to become later on in life. And let's be real, it probably featured you like as a warrior with a giant ass sword, like a battle axe, going to the woods and actually like murdering bears with your bare hands. Even though you have a sword, but you get the idea. Then you grew up and gradually stepped foot into the corporate world and started hearing terms such as office clerk, marketing, and God beware, HR. I'm gonna be introducing this video with my own story real quick. It's gonna take 2 hours. So I'm 22 years old and I finished trade school in 2023, and after I finished school, I went out into the world and just wanted to find a job that kind of gives me like a basic income. I wanted to work in a bookstore, but got rejected quite bad. I even got fucking rejected from supermarkets. I don't know why, but they all just didn't want my ass to work there. And the only option left was the call center. They accepted me immediately because their policy is just to accept anybody who's not clinically retarded. Like even then they make a couple of exceptions, but yeah, they just kind of, they just take anyone they can get. My job was to essentially just call customers who cancel their phone contract. I worked for a phone company, by the way, and to convince them to either extend or buy like their contract or buy a new phone. So I worked in sales, but in the lowest form of fucking sales there is. The activity in itself just felt completely pointless because I was selling shit that I wasn't even standing behind. Like I wasn't convinced of that shit myself. And bro, like when the iPhone 15 got newly released, I ripped off so many people, man. They just bought this, they just ate that shit out of my hand. Okay, I couldn't do anything. So the whole point of the job just felt soulless as fuck. It's also quite draining talking to people for hours and hours to come and trying to convince them of something that you're not even convinced of by yourself. Except if you're a fucking psychopath, like some people can pull that off. I personally cannot convince you of something that I do not stand behind, it's just impossible. But it's not just the activity in itself, there's actually another half of the coin. That being that you have to forcibly interact with the people that you can't relate to, and their intellect and average is fucking garbage. Not to brag or anything, but I and like my close friends were all decently intelligent, I would say, and having to interact with people who are just not even less intelligent, I would just genuinely say that most of them are outright stupid. It's quite soul-crushing, to be honest. And now factor in the average person's mental state. They're unhappy, out of shape, and pretty much just addicted to consuming as much garbage as possible, be it dietary or intellectual. And all that negativity around you is going to have an impact on where you're fucking off. Because our reality is entirely shaped by the things that we perceive and consume. So I did what any man on my spot would have done. I called in sick, went to Georgia for vacation, and then just quit the job immediately. And seriously, the moment I stepped out of that office for the last time, my happiness just fucking skyrocketed through the roof. Anyway, that was my first corporate office job, and I actually had a second one a couple of months later. A few months later, my cousin just called me and told me that the company his friends working in is like hiring, and he was thinking about me, you could go and check it out. And me, obviously being an open-minded, cool guy, I was thinking, yeah, of course, just check it out. What could potentially go wrong, right? So I had a couple of trial days and got a hang of things pretty fast, and the people are actually quite surprised of how fast I picked things up. So naturally, I obviously got the job, signed the contract, but I had a vacation to Scotland coming up. So I told these guys that I'm going to be able to start within a month from now. And that's what I did. So my first day of work began, and obviously I came 5 minutes late because I'm always late. Like if you're ever going to be talking to one of my close friends, you can ask them, if you're talking about meeting up like 8 in the evening, I'm gonna be there like 9:30. I swear to God, it just always happens. I don't know why. It's not my fault, I promise. Anyway, my first task ever in the company was to watch a 7-hour instructional on the fucking company's operating system. So like the program they would use on their computers. I had already mastered that shit during my trial days. It's really not that complicated if you grew up with PCs. And the pace of the tutorial was set for fucking the biggest booming boomers there are. You can sort of imagine it like this. Over here you find the letter sign. If you click on it, you'll be able to write an email, and if you click on send, the email will be deployed to dude, it was fucking mental torture, okay? And at the end of it, the boss, who's a fucking cunt by the way, called me and another new guy to the office to essentially just like test us if we got a hang of the program or not, and asked us a couple of questions. Guess what happens next? I shit you not, I fell asleep right in front of her. You can like picture me just like sitting on the chair like this, just leaning on my head. I was just, and at some point I was just dead asleep. Then she woke me up because she asked me some kind of random question. I didn't really pick it up consciously, but I seemingly picked it up subconsciously because I was like, oh, that's the answer. I just kind of like got it right somehow. And then she asked me if I was still mentally receptive, and my arrogant ass was just like, oh yeah, of course, just bring it on, I got this. Like the inefficiency within that fucking day. They could have just sent me to work and I could have like brought the money in, but instead they forced me to watch a 7-hour instructional on some fucking random ass program that I'd already figured out. I understand that you have to like make a plan for the masses, but the inefficiency within that company just kind of, dude, it honestly scared me off. From that day on, I swore to myself that I will never ever be taking part in a corporate job ever again. And I'll be telling you exactly why that is. Now this part is actually way bigger than you think. The aesthetics. The office is the most soulless, inhumane space that I've ever seen. Right before I started the second office job, I was in Scotland, in Edinburgh to be precise, and I went there along with my friend. We only had backpacks for, like sleeping bags for our accommodation, and we were going through the old town, through the woods, through the mountains, and we were sleeping on grassland, like underneath a clear sky every night, which was fucking amazing, by the way. I highly recommend it. Like the sense of freedom that you have was just fucking insane. Then I returned home after a week, and the day after, the only thing I saw was this. Everything was just gray, like it was completely plain, nothing had a sense of texture to it. And instead of having the clear, beautiful sky on top of you, all you had were these like garbage office lightings, like the ones that you know from school. And of course you're going to feel completely empty and soulless, because humans are very visual creatures by nature. It wouldn't honestly be too bad if you had a couple of cool friends to like bear this through together, but let's get to that. Just watch and you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Dude, she's so into me, dude, I swear to God. I'm gonna get her number next time. The boss? Nah, he can't tell me shit, dude. Who the fuck does he think he is? I'm the baddest guy in the room. I'm just gonna go and get her. Doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, we'll book the appointment for 3 p.m. tomorrow. Is that right for you, sir? Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Have a great work. The notorious corporate persona, it makes my blood boil. Like, I'm one of these people, you can find me anywhere. You can find me at home, in the gym, at work, at a funeral. I don't know, I'm just always gonna be the same guy. I'm not really gonna change. I swear, like, the moment they clock in, all of a sudden they stop being racist, they stop cracking jokes, and they become like politically correct corporate bunnies. And I get that your workplace is not an Instagram comment section, but come on, you gotta have some fun here too, you know? You gotta like kind of break the tension sometimes and like enjoy life. Then there's that one facial expression, that expressive expression that people use to express their expressiveness with, and it goes like this. When you pass by one of your coworkers and hold eye contact with them, instead of just smiling or just giving a simple nod, they just... Why? I mean, I suppose that's just a result of the previously mentioned forced social interactions, but we are stuck inside here just slaving away because we gotta, you know, fill our bellies with food. So why aren't we just like happy to each other and kind of make that a more accommodable place? But anyway, there's an even deeper point on why I completely hate office jobs. We all have one deep internal desire that motivates us to get up and get things done. It could be money, or by proxy power, fulfillment, relationships, aesthetics, art, and so on. My deepest wish in a sense is just to level up. That's like, I just get completely addicted to the idea of leveling myself up, and that's also the reason why, for example, Dark Souls is my favorite game series. Let me know your biggest drive in the comments down below. I'll be quite curious about that. If you think about most office jobs, there's barely any room for improvement. Once you have been in the spirit for like a month or two and you familiarize yourself with the company's operation system, that's all the progress you could have really done. Like, let's say you're gonna be an office clerk, or like you work in human resources or whatever. How are you supposed to level up? Like, can you be a high-level office clerk, or like a high-level human resource? How do you even call that occupation? Like human resourcer, personal management, some shit like that. Like, how are you supposed to develop yourself in that sense? We're all familiar with the idea that life just becomes repetitive and years are gonna pass by as an adult. Like, how many times did adults come up to you when you were younger and told you like, oh yeah, enjoy your school years, I missed them so much, the high school is gonna be the best time of your life. And bro, like, quick side note, if high school is the peak of my life, objectively, I'm literally gonna just blow my brains out right here. I assume that you've heard these things dozens of times by adults, right? A big reason for that is not necessarily their repetitive day-to-day life, because life by its nature is very repetitive. Think about it, hitting the gym as an example. Like, you go to the gym for months and years and do the exact same fucking exercises with like slight variations for such a big span of time. But the reason you get addicted to it is because the repetitiveness actually pays off. If you spend years lifting weights, for example, or doing a sport such as wrestling or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you will eventually master that thing and reach a high level, which has a visual, mental, and physical effect, because you can, like, you look big, you look strong, you can just dismantle people how you like, which makes your repetitiveness ultimately pay off. But in many corporate jobs, you don't really get that personal growth, do you? You may eventually get a promotion, which entirely depends on your higher up just leaving the company, but even in that case, you will just earn slightly more tasks, get a bit more responsibility, and maybe earn a couple $100 more. You don't really get a sense of progression, which is crucial for men, as men, generally speaking, are driven by purpose, while women, as an example, are actually driven by relationships. Most of them don't really care too much about progress, but for men it's a very crucial thing. And also the corporate sphere doesn't really translate onto real life, as being some higher up in a random company doesn't really mean shit the moment you step out of the door. As an example, if you're a lawyer or a pro fighter, for example, you're gonna carry yourself with a certain attitude, and people are going to feel that. But if you are the department leader of the nobody gives a fuck. Genuinely, nobody gives a shit. But all hope is not lost, my friend, because there are some occupations which actually serve a purpose. Now, the good part is you don't have to start an online business or to gamble your life savings away to enjoy life, because there are actually many purposeful jobs that you can do. Think about manual labor as an example. If you work in construction, you're literally building homes for people to live in. If it wasn't for you, my lazy and weak ass would literally be homeless, so I'm eternally grateful to you. If you become a doctor or a nurse, you're literally saving people's lives, and also being like a pilot, a firefighter, or a policeman. Imagine being an actual guard within your city. You can literally go up to people and be like, did somebody steal your fucking sweet roll? Yeah. And the cool part is that all of these occupations actually do have big room for progression, because think about it, if you're a construction worker and you've been doing this for like 10 or 20 years, the houses that you built are gonna be fucking... Or picture yourself as a surgeon as an example, where you're literally manufacturing people. That takes quite a lot of time and practice, and being a high level surgeon is gonna earn you a fuck ton of money because that's such a rare thing to be. All of these occupations are full of purpose and will satisfy your masculine urge to be needed and to provide for your people. Soul-crushing and emasculating nature of corporate jobs deeply internalized a strong hatred towards that sphere inside of me. That's why I encourage you as a young man to go and find your purpose. Not somebody else's purpose or dream, but your own. You have to walk your own path, just like Miyamoto Musashi taught us already like thousands of years ago. 1,000 years ago, but you get the point. I'm gonna take myself as an example. I sort of have like 3 occupations, so I sell real estate, I also sell insurances, and I do have a part-time job as a security guard. I'm grateful for my occupations because it pays me well. I'm financially well off right now, and I get to actually level myself up and master the art of selling, as an example, and dealing with customers on a very personal level. So think about it, when you're selling a real estate to somebody, you are literally altering their life. The best part is that I formed a very tight bond with my coworkers, and if you guys are watching this video, which I hope you are, because I'll always send you the fucking link, I very much appreciate it. That's how I managed to have a circle of like strong and like-minded friends to be with. And from now on, I'm even a fucking competitive athlete because my first jiu-jitsu competition is gonna be in a week. So yeah, life's full of surprises, isn't it? My dream, on the other hand, is actually to become a full-time YouTuber and make videos. I started taking the path very serious from like a month or 2 on, and I will succeed this year. I promise. I promise that to you, to myself, and everybody else watching this video. I really love to know what your purpose and like your deepest wish, so to speak, is in the comments down below. And if you'd like to support me, I have a link to my Ko-fi page in the description. You can like donate me a couple bucks if you wanna help me live. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Have a fantastic day, and go out and do something, I suppose. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.